Hey everyone, I want to give you guys just a quick prequel to the upcoming video. I shot the video I think like 2 days ago, and I don't think I made it clear that in order for team navigation to work, you need two guys with two scopes, right? Looking through two scopes that each have mill lines. Okay, so you can have two guys with two rifles with two scopes on them, or you can have, let's say, one guy that has a rifle with a mill scope on it and the other guy has a spotting scope, and that's fine. But I just needed to make it clear that both guys are looking through some type of an optic, looking at something. They basically gotta be looking at the same thing, in the scope that has mill lines. Okay, now the rest of the video is going to make sense when you listen to it, because I was reviewing the video, I'm like, wait a second, I don't think I told people that, I explained that part to them. Okay, so enjoy the rest of the video that's coming up. Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about team navigation using your first focal plane LPVO. Okay, now it does have to be a first focal plane, and I'll explain why. And it has to have a complex reticle in mils that has more than just 10 mils, right? And you guys are going to understand why in a minute. Okay, so this is the primary arms PLX compact 128 by 24, and the reticle is the M8 Raptor. All right, so now we're going to take a look in the scope. So we're going to start off by get the position. We're going to start off by looking at that horseshoe, right, which is my starting point. Okay, so then if I tell you to go 10 mils to the right, okay, which is that first barbell, well, you're going to find yourself at the first leg of that target holder, right? If I tell you to go to the 20 mil mark to the right, okay, you're going to find yourself at that first white target. If I tell you to go to 35 mils right of the horseshoe, okay, well, you're going to find yourself at that big hexagon looking target. Okay, now one of the things that, so basically right now we've run out of, basically we're at the end of the scope, right? But benefit of the first focal plane is, right, because right now I'm in 5 magnification, and these mils are true in all magnification. So all I gotta do is back this out now to 3. Okay, all right, and again we're going to position the horseshoe over that same target, that hexagon, right, that kind of stood out, right? And now if I tell you to go to the 50 mil mark, which is where that thick barbell is, right, you're going to find yourself at the third target. Okay, and now I'm going to zoom out a little bit more. Let's go to about 1.5. All right, so same deal. We got to make sure that our starting point is the same. I moved it a little bit. So starting point is the same. And if I tell you to go to 75 mils, well, that's going to put you at the second leg of that target holder to the right. Okay, so this is how a first focal plane scope with a complex reticle is useful, right? Because a lot of times people are like, oh, first focal plane, any good LPVO has to be first focal plane. And the question becomes why, okay? The purpose of having a first focal plane scope is so that your mill lines are true in all magnifications, right? And you can see here how I needed to zoom back, right, in order to bring, to bring the targets that I wanted you to look at, right, or to bring something I wanted you to look at into view, right? Because when I was in 5 magnification, you couldn't see the last target to the right, and you couldn't see the leg of that target holder. So I had to zoom back to like 1.5 magnification to give you a wider field of view. And I needed, as I zoom up and down, I need those those measurements, those mill lines, to hold true. And that's going to also be the case for your bullet drop. Okay, if this was a second focal plane scope, even if it had a complex reticle like this with mill lines, okay, I would have to be in 8 magnification, or max magnification. Sorry, not 8 necessarily, because you might have a 6 scope, or you might have a 10 power scope. Whatever your max magnification, you need to be in your max magnification so the mill lines hold true. So the problem is, if you're in max magnification, you know, the thing that you want to be looking at might be out of your field of view, because you know, so and you can't you can't be in any magnification other than max magnification and be able to guide people that have a mill scope to the target, because as you zoom to different magnifications, those mill lines, they mean different things. So only with the first focal plane scope do the mill lines hold true in all magnifications, and I can use it to team navigate, right, other people to a target, right, to say, hey, listen, I want you to keep your eyes on, you know, keep your eyes at the you know, at the 50 mil mark. If you see that person become hostile, I want, you know, or basically start to point a gun in our direction, I want you to fire at him, okay? But keep your eyes at the 50 mil mark right of that stop sign that we're all starting off from, okay? So again, as I zoom in and out, you know, okay, the reticle changes proportionately to the background. Okay, so that's the first focal plane. Okay, so there's really no point in having a first focal plane scope unless you're going to have, you know, unless you want to have these capabilities and are going to make use of them, right? If you're not going to be doing stuff like that, then I would definitely say, yeah, just get a second focal plane scope. If all you want is some magnification and a bullet drop compensator, yeah, definitely go with the cheaper second focal plane scope. You know, but if you want to do like more advanced stuff, you know, this is the reason to get a first focal plane scope, and it has to have a complex reticle like this that you can do stuff with, right? It has to have mill lines that you can range estimate, that you can do team navigation, you can do wind holes, you know, your bullet drops, you know, because I mean, quite honestly, if I'm not going to be doing all these things, I'd rather just have a red dot with a magnifier behind it, right? It's going to be a lot faster. It's going to be a lot lighter. If I don't need to use the magnifier, I can just completely remove it, and I have a lighter gun, right, with just a red dot on it. And if I need magnification, I can just put the magnifier back on it. So unless I'm going to be making use of the mill lines, there's no point in having an LPVO. Okay. Now the LPVO is basically designed. Basically, there's no point. Like I said, there's no point in having unless you're going to be doing these things. And it really, you know, basically it works better when you're in the higher magnifications, and then you can kind of zoom in and see the mill lines. If you're you know, one of the benefits of the LPVO that goes all the way back down to 1 is if you're in a CQB environment and be like, okay, we accomplished our mission here, it's time to get out of here. All right, now I'm going to go all the way down to 1 power. Okay, all right, I'm going to go down to 1 power. All right, and now we're just going to get out of here. You know what? I'll put on my illumination so this functions as kind of like a red dot. Because if you don't have that red dot on, I covered this in another video, it's really hard to find that center aiming point. Those posts on the side now come into your view, and they can hide. They sort of guide you to the center. Okay, so this functions as a German force. So I just turned off the illumination. So those posts are designed to guide you to the center, but that's really hard, because that horseshoe has shrunk down, you know, to basically microscopic. You can't see it. So now I pretty much have to turn on my illumination. The problem with the illumination is that even, you know, basically you're going to run out your battery. LPVOs are terrible at battery consumption. This scope here has auto off, shake awake, but if you're carrying the gun on your back and you're moving, it's never going to go to sleep. It will always be, you know, it will always be, you know, on. Okay, so the purpose of the 1X is we accomplished our mission, right, using the complex reticle. And now we're just basically using this to get out of there, and we're going to go down to 1X. So if we do get into some type of CQB type of situation, right? Some type of close quarter combat. I got something that's sort of usable, okay? But I would never want to use this in close quarters. If that was like the primary mission, like to be in close quarters, I would definitely not want an LPVO, okay? So the only reason why I would want this is because I think that complex reticle would, you know, with the mill lines would help me accomplish the mission of, you know, including the range estimating, you know, and all those other things that, you know, that are in the scope. And I'm just only going down to 1 power just so I can get out of it, to make my exit, or basically I used it to make my entry to get into the area. But I am definitely compromised in 1 power with this reticle. That's kind of like really hard to see your center aiming device. And it's, you know, I mean, even with the red dot on, it's kind of, you know, with the illumination, it's kind of hard. And if you turn it off, it's like especially hard. Okay, so I want you guys to, you know, to understand the place of the LPVO and the place of the first focal plane, and how the reticle, you know, if you're going to have a first focal plane scope, the reticle has to be suited to it, right? It has to be a complex reticle like this that is going to have information in there that you can actually use in the first focal plane, because you're going to be actually measuring it at different magnifications, because you need different fields of view, okay? Because a lot of times people are like automatic, yeah, it's got to be first focal plane or bust, you know, or a piece of crap, and that's not the case, right? If you're not going to be doing taking these complex measurements, you know, go with the second focal plane, or just go with a red dot with a magnifier, which is my primary. My primary is a red dot with a magnifier. This is a very specialized tool, all right? Think of the LPVO as a specialized tool. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Talk to you all soon.